They sold everything, my house, my car, even my clothes in careful piles, while calling it legacy. Under hotel lights, my life wore price tags. And I was at home, turning on a porch light for guests who would never come. I turned 62 and set a table for 8. No one came. Morning drifted in with Monterey fog, the kind that makes lights soft and rooms gentle. I wiped the dining table with the slow care you give a piano before company. I laid a linen runner, counted plates, and listened to the steady tick of the kitchen clock like it still trusted us to keep time. I polished the silver the way my mother taught me, knives right, forks left, spoons that wait their turn. I set out the white plates with the thin pearl rim. They are simple plates, but candlelight taught them to look special. Small lessons keep a house together. Today I trusted them. I wrote 8 place cards in my best hand. I am not an artist, but I have patience, and patience can make letters stand tall. I wore my navy dress with the tiny pearl buttons, and the small necklace Arthur gave me the day we burned our mortgage on the grill, and laughed like people who learned patience the long way. Not expensive. Ours. I checked the porch bulb, replaced it, and stood at the head of the table to test the sightline to the door. I wanted to see the porch light flare and watch a silhouette turn into family. Rituals do not heal everything, but they remind your hands who they are. By afternoon, I called everyone. 6 o'clock, I said. Don't bring anything. I have plenty. I basted the roast with thyme and garlic, slid potatoes into the oven, shocked green beans so they would keep their bright. I iced a lemon cake because Arthur always loved citrus, said lemon reminds the mouth that life wakes up. I put sparkling water on ice because bubbles lie and water tells the truth. I set a small vase of flowers on the buffet, not many, just enough to say someone remembered beauty on purpose. 6 came. No one at the door. I checked my phone. No messages. I checked my calendar. Birthday dinner, 6 p.m. The little square looked brave for me. At 6:15, I sent one text. Are you close? Only that. Hope needs few words. At 6:30, I fed the candles a little more light, then worried I would dry the roast, took it out, and felt foolish for caring about meat when chairs had begun to look like actors after a show. I refolded napkins that did not need me. I moved 2 place cards, then moved them back. I told the room to behave. It did. 7, straight to voicemail. My son, my sister, a cousin who forgets birthdays but not photos. The message lady spoke to me in a voice made to be kind to strangers. I put both hands on the counter. It's fine, I told the tiles. Traffic, headaches, last-minute things. I wiped a spot that wasn't there and felt the way a room can decide not to help if you don't speak kindly to it. Then I made the mistake many people make when a house is too soft. I opened social media. The first photo hit hard. Hotel chandeliers, champagne, faces lifted toward the camera. Brianna, my daughter-in-law, shining in white. The caption, new chapter for the Parker legacy. So grateful. She tagged my sister. She tagged my son. She tagged cousins I hadn't seen in months. Another photo, my pearls under a glass case. A calm card. Lot 17, assorted jewelry. Estate. The little watercolors from our den sat on a black pedestal labeled Coastal Studies. The hallway mirror I used to fix my hair was vintage silvered glass. Parker collection, calm words with cold hands. There's a way people talk when they are taking you apart. It is polite. It sounds like care. It is not care. I put the phone down without throwing it. Breaking glass does not fix paper. I blew out the candles with the steadiness you save for a child who can't take a full breath. I wrapped the cake. I stored the roast. The small clink of porcelain in the cabinet told me I was still here, even if the room tried to forget. I stacked the 8 place cards like losing lottery tickets and made them neat because neatness is a small way to choose yourself. The doorbell rang. The sound arrived like a question the room had been asking me all evening. No faces, just a thick blue envelope on the mat. Heavy paper, raised seal, returned to sender stamped in red like a mouth that said no. Arthur's name printed above our address. The forwarding order had expired months ago. The post office had given up on chasing the place the letter hoped we had gone. Years late, but here, on my birthday, I sat in a side chair, not at the head. The head felt like a stage, and I was done performing for empty seats. I slid a thumb under the flap. On top, a receipt from a genealogy lab. Numbers in blood turned into words in files. Below it, a county sheet with addendum at the top, an extra page to Arthur's will. The date on the lab receipt and the date on the addendum intake matched. Someone measured blood the same day a new page entered a will. In neat ink. Addendum, open only with Ward present. Ward meant Ethan Ward, our lawyer. I went to the buffet and took out Arthur's black fountain pen. He used it for papers that mattered. The mortgage, the title, the postcard he signed when we promised to stop arguing about the dishwasher. I set the pen beside the envelope. It felt like calling him into the room without asking for a miracle. I touched the pen and thought, if the ground moves, take the next sensible step, not the loud one. Sensible steps still have hands. I put the papers back, slid the envelope into my bag, turned off the dining room light, and looked at the table one last time. 8 plates, 8 chairs, 8 empty places. The arrangement looked like a diagram for a story that refused to land. Evidence, not a party. At midnight, I cut a small piece of lemon cake, ate it in the quiet kitchen, and told myself out loud, "Happy birthday. We are not finished." Sometimes the room wants you to say it so it can help you believe it. Morning came early, as it does when sleep spends the night walking your hallway. I dressed, put the fountain pen and the blue envelope in my bag like talismans and tools, and drove to Ethan's office, glass, wood, quiet plants, an assistant with a smile that works on everyone and belongs to no one. Ethan met me with a careful face. He read the note, the lab receipt, the addendum header. His jaw made the small shape jaws make when they meet a problem they don't want to name too soon. "It's sealed," he said. I asked to view it under counsel. The clerk confirms, an addendum to Arthur's will. 2 clauses matter. First, a no contest clause. If a beneficiary challenges and loses in public, they can lose what remains. Second, a good name and reputation clause. Let's call it the reputation rider. If a beneficiary publicly harms Arthur's good name or the legacy of the estate, temporary control can move, ostensibly to protect the legacy. Explain it simple, I said. My head holds simple today. Be quiet in public, he said. We build with timestamps and chain of custody, not microphones. If the addendum was handled wrong, that matters more than any speech. We compared dates again. Lab day and addendum day shared a square on a calendar I had not been allowed to see. They're making a show, I said, hearing my voice steady itself. Calling it care, then we answer with paper, he said. Not noise, paper, I nodded. I could do quiet. Quiet is a language my bones speak well. Across town, someone had raised a glass to the sale of my life. Here, I raised ink. If a house can learn anything from a night like that, it is this. When they start pricing your name, you hold your ground with custody and a steady hand. We were not finished. The room believed me. So did I. Galleries have their own weather. Varnish in the air, quiet floors that remember careful shoes. The front desk had a brass bell no one needed to touch because Ava Torres was already waiting, a lanyard on her neck and a look that said, I chose today on purpose. Thank you for coming, she said, voice low, as if frames could listen. Let's talk in the back. A keypad light turned green. The door clicked. Inside, long shelves, gray crates, soft blankets over frames, barcodes that behave better than people. Order lives there because the wrong touch can cost a year's rent. Ava rolled a metal cart to a work table and opened a slim laptop. I logged what I was told to log, she said, and I kept a parallel sheet with what I actually saw. The spreadsheet opened, columns neat enough to iron your breath. Lot, item, source label, actual, buyer interest, bid range, notes. She tapped a row. L007. Assorted jewelry, estate, common collection, Helen's pearl necklace, gift from Arthur when mortgage burned, Kensley fine, 6 to 8K, personal, hook by vanity, lemon oil scent, not to group. The words carried a room in them. I could smell the lemon oil I use for wood once a month. She sent me labels, Ava said. She asked me to standardize everything under Parker Collection and Common Estate, jewelry, letters, some photos. I did not feel right. So I wrote what I saw. She called my pearls common, I said, tasting the small insult made to sound neutral. Yes, Ava said plain. I wrote personal because they live on a hook in a room that knows your height. Common erases context. She moved to L08, assorted rings, and showed the actual column. Gold band, inside engraving, AH. Assorted is for buttons in a jar, she said. An engraving belongs to 2 people. She clicked to a buyer's tab. Kensley Fine had sent a letter. Strong interest in jewelry lots, L017 to L023, willing to pre-bid subject to condition check. A private buyer, DK, asked for a first look on rings. A decorator from Carmel wanted the hallway mirror. Then she opened a PDF packet labeled Family Approvals. Signatures, Matthew Parker. Ruth Ellis, Carl Ellis, Brianna Parker, authorized. No line for Helen Parker. Not even a blank where my name should have been. They signed without me, I said, keeping my voice flat so it wouldn't spill. The packet arrived labeled Family Approval, Ava said. I asked who counted as family. Brianna said immediate stakeholders. Immediate means people near the table, I said. Not people who own the table? Ava slid a flat crate forward and lifted a small painting from under a blanket. Light on water, a boat that could hold 2 people if they remembered how to share. She turned it gently and showed me the back. Pencil letters in a hand I knew from old birthday cards. For Arthur, for all the summer light. SW, I said the initials out loud. Samuel Whitaker, Arthur's half-brother. Distance, then letters, then distance again. A dedication changes more than a catalog line, Ava said. It changes provenance. It says this piece sits inside a story, not just above a couch. Brianna wanted this erased, I guessed. She wrote, front only, Ava said. I refused. Then I began the parallel sheet and saved back photos. Why risk your work? I asked. Because sleep is a kind of paycheck, she said. Because truth is heavy but keeps its shape. And because I saw your pearls called assorted, and my throat tightened. We returned to the laptop. Ava opened a folder labeled paper. Rows L031 and L032 made my hands go still. Arthur Samuel letters, 82-84. A note, lab day mention in 2 letters. Dates align with your lab receipt photo. She showed inventory photos. Glare blurred edges, but ink held. Sam, courier today. Ethan in room. Lab wants both forms signed. You know why. I am shaking. Then, do it fast and quiet. Then we stop writing for a while. As quiet, fast, stop writing. The letters knew what the room wanted and how to disobey it gently. There's something else, Ava said, pulling a stapled stack from a manila folder. Pre-intent buyer requests are stapled to family approvals. Watch timing. A decorator's pre-intent for my hallway mirror was dated 2 days before my birthday. Beneath it, a family approval sheet dated the same day. Signatures again, missing mine. They were planning the preview, I said, while I set a table for 8. Ava did not say I'm sorry. Professional people learn when apologies are a rug and when they are a hand. She glanced toward the front gallery. At the hotel rehearsal, a pen drive came in, she said. Tech chatter spilled. I wasn't invited, but I heard a folder name, Safeguards. Subfolders, POA, capacity eval, asset holds, buyer LOIs. I saw a reflection when someone mirrored to a second display and forgot the angle. I did what registrars do. I wrote names down. In her notes column, she added, seen reference to Safeguard Packet VR4 PDF during hotel test. Hash string visible, looked like shade 256, tail unclear. I don't like hashes, she said, but sometimes a number is the only face a lie will show. We sat in the small white room with 2 chairs and a plant that believed in straight lines. Why help me? I asked again, not as a test, but as a witness. This could cost you work. Sometimes women help women in ways that don't show on invoices, she said. Because I like sleep, and because you wore a pearl necklace someone wanted to call assorted. A notification buzzed on my phone. I ignored it. Read the back out loud, she said, nodding to the printed photo of the dedication. I did. For Arthur, for all the summer light. SW. Now imagine that line in a judge's hand, she said, next to the addendum date match. Next to the crooked seal. Next to letters that say Lab Day. Paper starts to talk when it sits together. She printed the first page of her parallel sheet. Lot numbers and notes, no photos, enough to hold a memory if mine needed court. At the door, she added a warning like a ribbon on a knife. Be careful with texts, she said. People love screenshots more than truth. Outside, the afternoon wore pewter. The color water puts on when it is thinking. In my car, I put my head to the wheel until breath remembered how to be a friend. Then the phone lit. Unknown. Stop digging or the addendum fires. I saved it to a folder I named Paper. Silence can be a witness too. At home, I placed the blue envelope on the hall table next to Arthur's pen and the dish for keys. "We're staying," I told the room so it would remember its job. Then I wrote a neat list at the dining table like a teacher setting supplies. Ava's parallel sheet, personal versus assorted, dedication, SW, on painting back. Letters mention lab day. Dates align with receipt. Family approvals plus buyer letters without me. Brianna instruction, front labels only. Talk of safeguards POA capacity holds LOIs. Ava can do chain of custody. Send courier. Unknown text threatening addendum. I left my circle open and told gravity to do its work. Hotel lights know how to flatter a lie. Everything glowed, the carpets, the glass, even the word preview. I parked on a lower level so the wind wouldn't take my door and followed the sound of silverware and soft shoes to a ballroom pretending to be a museum. The bay sat beyond tall windows with long curtains that made the tide look polite. Small round tables wore white cloths. At the far end, a spine of displays ran. My hallway mirror, my little watercolors, and a glass case labeled in calm font. Assorted jewelry. Estate. Calm words wear good shoes when they plan to step on a throat. Brianna stood on a riser under a directed spotlight. She wore black like a curator and a ribbon badge that said collection lead. The microphone waited for her mouth the way a dog waits for a door. "Welcome to the Parker Collection preview," she said. "Tonight is about legacy. We are honored to share these pieces with families who will cherish them." Legacy. Share. Cherish. Words that feel like silk and work like rope. I kept to the edge where water servers live and people forget to look. A waiter offered champagne. I asked for water. Bubbles lie. On a side table, forms sat with pens and lines. Letter of interest, right of first offer. A small note said, "Family signatures on file." I looked down and saw my son's careful M printed in a copy, my sister's name, and Brianna's neat line, "No space for Helen Parker." Not a missing blank. An absent thought. A man stood to the left of the riser, not looking at the art. Mid-50s, trim, a suit that knew when to be quiet. His eyes tracked where people stood, not what they held. When he noticed me noticing him, he dipped his head, a small hello made of manners. Later I learned his name, Jonas Price. He consults on elder justice matters and collects mirrors on weekends. "Odd pair," he said. "It puts him in rooms like this." Brianna guided a cluster past the glass case. "Our curatorial assessment places the jewelry lots at 6 to 8, she said. "We've kept provenance clean, front labels only." Front labels only. I felt Ava's hand covering the painting back in the photo on my phone, the pencil line for Arthur, for all the summer light. SW. If truth lived on the back, Brianna would have it face the wall. A woman with a dealer's smile asked, "Can we place pre-bids tonight?" Brianna smiled back. "Yes, letters of intent are on the side tables. Right of first offer will be honored. We value transparency." She served the last word like a dessert, sweet, decisive, expensive. The man who watched people drifted near without entering my space. "Jonas Price," he said softly, as if testing a tuning fork. "I consult for a foundation on elder justice. On weekends, I collect mirrors. It makes me a student of rooms and the people who arrange them." The mirror on the display line held his reflection, reversed and ready. "Tonight looks like a sale calling itself a preview," I said. "It smells like pressure," he answered. "Forms waiting for pens. Family approvals already on file. Owner not at the microphone." He did not ask who I was. He had already seen me. "I won't make a scene," I said. "I won't ask you to," he answered. "If you need a witness who can tell a judge what this smelled like, I'm here." He slid a small card against my palm without looking down. A name, a number, not a trap, a door. Movement at the side table caught my eye. A man in a gray blazer handed Brianna a white envelope the size of a thumb drive. She did a trained glance, a quick scan that looks like nothing, and passed it to Matthew, who had come up the riser like gravity still liked him. Behind a tall floral arrangement, he opened a thin laptop like a magician pulling a cloth. The screen flashed against a vase. I let the tide carry me until I could see without wanting to be seen. A directory sat open with a folder named Safeguards. Inside, subfolders labeled POA, capacity eval, asset holds, buyer LOIs. A file highlighted itself as if a hand chose a card and called it random, safeguard packet, V4, PDF. Beneath the file name, a small technical line lived where most eyes never go. Shay 256, 7B2F. 9E31, numbers and letters that look like machines until they decide to testify. I lifted my phone like checking a text and took a picture without the camera sound. One clean shot of the file name and the hashtail, proof of existence with its exact name. Brianna leaned to Matthew's ear with a whisper disguised as care. "Send the doc set to Dr. Seaver," she said. "He wants background before he sees her. Better if he reads we're already in wealth management." Matthew's face stayed still. "Are you sure?" he asked, boy voice under a suit. "It prevents problems," she said. "He'll add fragile judgment under stress for the file. It helps judges sleep. Helps judges sleep." The words tasted like metal. I swallowed. "And pushed to Jonah at the bank," she added. "Flag the joint accounts. We'll call it wealth management. It sounds kind." The words sat in the air like clean plates you weren't supposed to use. In the mirror's glass, Jonas met my eyes and gave one small no with his head. "Not here. Paper later." A staffer set down a tray of tiny crab cakes and disappeared like a dancer who knows timing. Brianna picked one up and used it like a pointer. "Lot 17, she told a dealer, aiming toward the pearls. "Common estate. Lovely on anyone." I watched her say common like the word had never met the lemon oil hook in my room. Inside my hand, my clutch learned what a fist is for and chose not to be one. At the bar, a woman in blue asked where Helen Parker was. Brianna's smile did not share a face. "At home," she said softly. "We're protecting her peace." Protecting. Peace. Two words that do heavy harm in certain mouths. Matthew stepped off the riser and back to the laptop. The crowd moved like weather, and I moved with it until the screen came into view again. He saved safeguard packet v4.pdf into a folder called Estate Operations. The hash line blinked again. I lifted my phone for a second angle. Timestamp, file name, hashtail. Two witnesses are better than one, even if both live in the same device. Jonas appeared at my elbow like a polite shadow. "If anyone asks," he said without moving his mouth, "I'm here for the mirror." Which is true. But I also saw a thumb drive change hands, a medical pretext planned in the open, and a curator badge on someone who is not a curator. "Why tell me?" I asked, though I already knew. "Because patterns matter," he said. "Because sometimes a room needs someone to whisper what is happening." On cue, my phone vibrated. Bank. "Your joint accounts are under review for wealth management. Some services may be paused while we finalize your care plan." Care plan. A soft pillow used to end something. I took a screenshot and slid it into paper with the hash photos. Brianna clinked her glass against the microphone stand, soft enough to seem accidental, loud enough to call a last tour. People gathered, voices lowered the way they do when money practices becoming a decision. She pointed to the mirror and told a decorator, "We can bless this tonight." She said bless like excuse me at the wrong door. I let the last group pass and texted Ethan 3 lines like coordinates. Saw safeguards. File, safeguard packet v4 PDF. Hashtail 7B2F. E31, pretext, capacity plus wealth MGMT. Jonas Price present. Will witness. They planned Dr. Seaver Tuesday. Calling it routine. Preserve photos. No confrontation. Paper tomorrow, he replied. I stood near the side exit where the air smelled like salt and laundry. When the room released people, they left in pairs, carrying forms like dinner mints. Staff cleaned plates so fast the tables looked unused. A photographer took one last picture. Brianna beside the glass case, Matthew at her shoulder like a proof of concept. Outside, the wind decided to remind faces what they are made of. The horizon refused a sharp line. My phone buzzed once more as if the ocean had found a pocket. Unknown number, stop digging or the addendum fires. I saved it with the other unknown. I did not answer. I am learning that silence can wear a badge if you give it a date. At home, I arranged the night's proof like a small altar. Photo 1, safeguard packet v4.pdf on the hotel laptop. 7B2F, I-31 tail. Photo 2, same second angle with timestamp. Screenshot, bank notice, wealth management hold. Care plan language. Note, Jonas witnessed handoff and pretext. Reminder, Ethan's system hash for addendum cover 7 beef, NE71. I wrote them on a card and let my eyes do the math. Hotel. 9031 versus system, 9071, same start. Different end. Maybe cousins pretending to be twins. Maybe a swap. I made tea because hands like tasks when heads are busy. The porch light clicked on by itself, punctual as ever. I looked at the mirror in my hallway, the one they had tried to rename, and told it something true. We are staying. The mirror did not clap. It did its job. It reflected a woman with a mug and a room that had almost learned to lie, and decided against it. Morning comes different when it knows it has a job. I woke before the alarm, put Arthur's fountain pen and the blue envelope in my bag, and drove to the county building with Ethan. The lobby smelled like lemon cleaner and paper that remembers. Robert Hale, the recorder, met us with a key ring and a face practiced at telling the truth without losing a paycheck. Upstairs first, he said. Then where memory lives. He set a broad ledger on a steel table. The page for the week Arthur died looked tidy until it didn't. Parker, Arthur, addendum. The county seal sat crooked, tilted like a halo that missed, with mirror backward letters in one quadrant and a rough dotted edge where the device had bitten the paper. Hale tapped the intake line, 6:11 p.m. We close at 5, he said. If something lands after hours, we accept and fix the stamp in the morning. This one never got fixed. He slid over a small photocopy card we were allowed to see. In the notes corner, someone had written "Notify Matthew," 1T. My son's name has 2. Only one person in my life always writes it with 1, Brianna. Hale kept neutral. Copies grow barnacles, he said. Let's look where film doesn't lie. Downstairs, the microfilm room hummed like a refrigerator that keeps secrets. A screen flickered the addendum cover in reverse. There was the crooked ring again, clearer now, with a faint hard corner of the stamp visible like a shadow. Hale slowed the reel and stopped at the intake index card. The phrase "Notify Matthew" did not appear on the film, only the tidy clerk hand in printed boxes. The book shows what the system forgets, he said. The film keeps the boat as it was. He led us to a locked room with canvas spines and a single lamp making a circle of honesty. The daybook entry showed rubrics out of order, JM initialed before CR, then CR squeezed later between the words seal and vault, catch up, not sequence. A margin tick in a different pen looked like a blessing added after the fact. Hale flipped the page to show the entries before and after hours, stamped straight, initials in the right dance, then back to hours, the smudge you cannot unknow. He handed us a night vault log printout we could keep. 6:22 p.m., 1 signature. Policy requires 2 after hours. One hand put my life to bed, I said. Say it like a judge, Hale answered. Single sign night vault. On a sheaf labeled notes, the glue shadow of a post-it left a pale square. Hale nodded and I eased the edge up. The yellow came free, thin as onion skin. 3 words in neat black ink. Contact AT before filing. Ethan's eyes lifted. Who is AT? Hale's face stayed careful. Post-its don't exist, he said, and put the binder away as if it had feelings. In the lobby, Ethan outlined our motion in simple boards and nails. Improper impression, crooked seal, mirror letters on film. Out-of-sequence rubrics, JM before CR. CR squeezed after. Single sign night vault, 6:22 p.m., 1 signature. Copy contamination. Notify Matthew appears on photocopy only. Misspelling. Non-clerk hand. Extrinsic note. Contact AT before filing preserved. Relief in Chambers review. Suspend addendum. Stay all pre-auction. Independent audit. Preservation of digital logs. I laid out our props on his conference table. The crooked seal photo, the night vault print, the daybook notes, the yellow square, and my hash card. Hotel file 7B2F. 9E31 versus system cover 7B2F. 9E71. Same start, different end. Ethan's assistant announced a call. May Avery from Price and Avery. We'll be filing a restricted inventory motion today. We have Matthew's POA, interim possessory management to avoid dissipation. Ethan. The widow is represented. May. We'll notice you after. The line ended polite and sharp. Ex-party attempt, Ethan said. Friday tricks. We filed our motion immediately. The clerk's stamp hit at 2:07 p.m. It sounded like a seatbelt. Hale met us again at day's edge with a fresh audit log from IT 1942-17, update a document. Addendum cover, checksum 7b2av. 9031, archived 1944-03. Ingest, document, addendum cover, checksum 7b2f. 9e71, active user, staff.jm. Location, Seaview Hotel remote terminal. Comment, format normalization, 2 minutes. Same badge ID, hotel terminal, a polite label for a swap. I went home and placed the log inside the blue envelope behind Arthur's pen. The doorbell rang. A man with a tired suit said service of process and left 2 thick packets. Petition for temporary conservatorship, filed by Matthew, by and through Agent Brianna. Attached, appointment with Dr. Seaver, compulsory. A 1-page behavior summary with tidy phrases. Fragile judgment under stress, susceptible to influence. Risk to legacy assets. Temporary order, asset audit and possession. To protect Ms. Parker's comfort and safety, she will be temporarily accommodated off-site for 72 hours while a wealth team conducts an inventory review. Granted pending hearing. Timestamp 4:02 p.m. I set both packets down as if they might leak. I texted Ethan. He responded fast. Standstill motion filed. Judge in chambers Wednesday. Sit tight, no public. The house held its neutral face, which felt like love. I wrote a clean map at the table, crooked mirror seal, film. Rubrics out of order, daybook. Night Vault 1 signature, log. Notify Matthew only on copy, misspelled. Post it, contact AT, hashtails, hotel. 9E31 verse system, 9E71, today's packets, conservatorship, plus comfort stay. Then I added a line because honesty is a tool. Afraid, but paper louder. I touched Arthur's pen and told the room, we are staying. The lamp on the table made a small circle of honesty and kept it lit. The Miramar sits over water where truth tastes like metal. At 6:50, my phone buzzed. Family dinner. Private room. 7 p.m. from Matthew. I carried my bag, blue envelope, Arthur's pen, small notebook, and walked into a private room with glass on 3 sides. The tide thudded under the floor like a big clock. Brianna was already there, perfect hair and folders stacked like props. Matthew stood when I entered. His eyes looked tired behind good manners. Ethan sat at the end with a legal pad and the patience of a metronome. Brianna slid a printed stack toward me. We're worried, she said, soft voice for hard edges. Your messages have been erratic. On top, emails from an address that looked almost like mine. Cash and jewelry now. Move box to Ruth's garage. No receipts. Delete bank app. Use cash only. Each ended with H I don't sign, H. The headers showed GMT time zones and an X-mailer string I don't use. Ethan didn't blink. We'll take copies, he said. For headers and server path. Brianna produced texts, but not screenshots. Word-pasted bubbles labeled Helen P. The blue looked wrong. The timestamps used a format my phone doesn't. Your plan to hide assets, she said. We're protecting you. I laid 4 things on the table in a neat line. Ava's parallel sheet page, Pearl's personal, not assorted, wedding band engraved, letters Arthur Samuel, dedication SW. My 2 photos of the hotel laptop showing safeguard packet v4.pdf and tail 7b2f, 9e31. The microfilm photo of the crooked seal plus Night Vault log with 1 signature. The backboard photo of the painting dedication, for Arthur, for all the summer light. SW, Ava's hand covering the image. This is what I have, I said. Parallel truth says my pearls are personal. Hash mismatch is forming. Hotel. Neither E1 system. 9071. The stamp is wrong and late. Night Vault has 1 signature. And SW is Samuel Whitaker, which puts family and intent on paper. You've been digging, Brianna said. I've been reading, I answered. She tapped the forged emails. A judge will see risk. A judge will see headers, Ethan said, voice level. GMT stamps, client string mismatch, signature habit off. Will request exclusion and origin from providers. Brianna's smile thinned, which is how you can tell a curtain from a wall. We accelerated procedures to spare everyone embarrassment, she said, turning to Matthew like offering water. I pushed restricted inventory, flagged the bank, scheduled Dr. Seaver, drafted the petition, because someone has to be the adult when the widow is fragile. Say that again, Ethan said gently. I accelerated things, she repeated, louder now. Yes, I won't let scandal swallow what Arthur built. If she keeps calling around, the reputation clause will fire. I'm keeping this family from humiliation. The tide under the floor held its breath. Matthew stared at his hands. A knock touched the door. The waiter peeked in. Ms. Parker? He asked, looking at me, not at her. A courier with ID asks to deliver a handwritten letter to you. Chain of custody slip from a gallery registrar. Let him in, I said before Brianna could refuse. The courier entered with sea wind in his hair and a sealed envelope marked by Ava's hand. I signed the chain slip and opened the seal carefully. Inside lay Arthur's handwriting. I knew the slope and the little bite on the K. Samuel it began. The lab wants silence. Ethan says an addendum holds steady if the town starts its talk. If noise comes, I need you close, not far. I want the summer light to sit where it belongs, in a small foundation for our mother Lydia, with Helen as curator for life. If I don't finish this before breath runs short, see that Helen keeps the house as home base and the rest goes where light does its best work. You know what I mean. AI did not read it out loud. Paper with intent does not need volume. Ethan spoke first, to the record no one else could see. Handwritten letter in decedent's hand. Registrar custody. Intent. Lydia Foundation. Helen curator for life. House stays home. Support suspending the addendum. This could be a plant, Brianna said. We have comparators, Ethan replied. We'll get a forensic exam. Your problem isn't authenticity. It's that the letter disagrees with your story. Matthew found his voice like a boy finding a doc. Dad wrote this, he said, thin and true. Brianna pushed the forged stack again. We need a 72-hour comfort stay while wealth management audits. It's kindness, Ethan flipped a page. Header inconsistencies, time zone errors, signature habit off. We'll ask the court to exclude and seek origin, and ask why a family member tried to plant these instead of requesting help. Matthew rubbed his ring. Brianna said the addendum points past Mom if she makes noise, he said to Ethan, not to her. She said managing the transition was her duty. Your father's letter explains why that rider exists, Ethan said. It's a bridge to a foundation and a house that stays. Not a freeway to a hotel sale. Brianna stood as if height could win. We're done, she said. We have orders. We have POA. Ethan slid our stamped motion across the table. In chambers review Wednesday. Anomalies attached. The court will decide whose orders breathe, he said. Until then, nobody moves Ms. Parker or her property without my consent and the judge's eyes. Brianna held my gaze. You will lose, she said quietly. You will trigger the clause. You will regret this. I will read this, I said, tapping Arthur's letter. Then I will sleep. Tomorrow, paper speaks. If I lose with paper. If I win with paper. She left without looking at Matthew. He did not look at her. Not once. We didn't order dinner. The waiter, who understood rooms, brought bread anyway, so hands had a job while words cooled. On the way home, I buckled the blue envelope into the passenger seat. Not superstition, procedure. Paper rides safer when treated like a person. At my table, I wrote new teeth on the map. Miramar, forged emails, texts, header time zone, signature flags. Arthur's letter delivered under Ava's custody. Lydia, curator for life, house stays. Matthew acknowledged pressure. Apology forming. Ethan will file under seal. Move to suspend addendum. I touched the pearl hook before sleep. Not assorted, I told it again. The room agreed without moving. Public libraries smell like pencil shavings and good decisions. Jonas met me at the local history desk with a navy sweater, a stack of note cards, and the calm of a man who brings water, not fire. We divided the work like chores. He took probate digests and newspapers. I took city directories, property rolls, and the thin genealogy binder librarians keep under the counter like a well-behaved secret. On microfilm, we found Whitaker, Samuel L. dock worker turned framer, later independent painter's assistant. In a 1984 art supplement, a small photo, two men on a pier backlit by late sun. The caption did not name them, but I knew the shoulder lines. Arthur on the left, Samuel on the right. Heads close. Like kind, Jonas slid a probate notice. Whitaker, Samuel L., decedent. Died intestate, no spouse. One line under relations. Half-brother, predeceased. We kept reading. Another clipping. Private exhibition, S. Whitaker, Coastal Studies. The donor list, A. Parker. The year matched the letters Ava showed, the ones whispering about lab day and then going quiet. Summer light. The boat, SW to A. All the same room. He opened a practice guide marked with old pencil. Late 80s wills here sometimes carry a good name rider, he read. If the widow provokes public scandal harmful to the decedent's name, the estate may redirect to a collateral heir. A temporary manager may be nominated to steward legacy during transition. He looked up. That matches Ethan's reputation clause. If you make noise, even to defend yourself, someone can try to skip you. While that happens, someone manages. Guess who wants that chair? Brianna, I said. The chair with a view and a key. We checked births and marriages. No record of Samuel marrying. No children. A permit listing a frame shop behind an address on Cypress Lane. In a directory, a one-line ad, S. Whitaker, framing and backboard repair. Backboards. Pencil on wood. Dedications you don't erase. The map began to talk. My phone buzzed. Ethan, the system hash for the addendum cover was 7B2F. 9071. I wrote it on a card next to the hotel 7B2F. 931, same beginning, different tale. Cousins pretending to be twins. Another light buzzed. Bank. Care plan holds. Services paused. I took a screenshot for the paper folder. Jonas raised an eyebrow. They're trying to make process feel like pajamas, he said. We'll let the court pick the outfit. The librarian drifted by like good weather. Property overlays are downstairs, she said. Blue Series C for Cyprus. She gave the look women give women when words would make the air heavy. We thanked her. On the map, we found a penciled Whitaker lot and a side note. Frame shop behind address. The directory's ad fit. Samuel had touched backboards with his hands. Our dedication made even more sense now. Another buzz. Unknown. The judge will believe capacity notes. Don't make us use them. Jonas read it and did not change his face. Keep it, he said. Silence is a witness if you give it a date. We built a simple timeline on a long sheet so a judge could see the day at a glance. 1980s, lab day and letters. Quiet request. Year of death, addendum intake with crooked seal, out-of-sequence rubrics, single sign vault. Last week, hotel preview. Safeguards folder. 7B E31 observed. Capacity pretext spoken. Thumb drive passed. Same night, county audit shows archive. 9031 then ingest. E71 at Seaview Terminal. Comment format normalisation. Staff jam badge. Email. Brianna Avery directs normalized cover with reputation, page 1. Bold temporary management. Next day, TRO filed. Escort refused. Bank paused holds. POA revocation in motion. Hale texted next, a gift wrapped as plain type. Off the record. System audit shows an addendum cover event the night of the hotel preview. 1942 archive. 9031. 94 in rest. 971, same staff badge. Location Seaview. Minutes later, Ethan wrote. Forwarded email recalled but preserved headers. Brianna Avery. Use JM's badge at Seaview. Normalize cover. Put reputation page 1, temporary management in bold. Make sure checksum won't spook it. A system confession and a mouth confession. One after the other. We printed both into a sleeve labeled audit, addendum swap. Outside, the bay wore white tips like small warnings. My phone chimed again. Matthew, emergency placement for Seaside Senior Living. Needs my signature. He sent a draft. I replied, do not sign. Then I sent him the audit log, 1942-1944, and a 3-line summary of Arthur's letter. Lydia Foundation. Helen Curator for Life. House home base. He answered, I'll come over. Good, Jonas said. Let him stand in the room with the paper. That evening, Matthew held the Seaside form like it could bark. I laid the hash photos side by side and the audit between them like a bridge, then repeated the 3-line summary of Arthur's letter. He put his hands over his face, then looked young in the right way. I won't sign, he said. I'll tell her. Don't tell, Jonas said softly. Just don't. Don't fight by text. Show up Wednesday. Let paper do it. When Matthew left, the house felt wide, not empty. Jonas drafted an internal hold memo to his editor. When paper bites back, publish only if someone moves me or my property before court. Not a threat, he said. A seatbelt. Hale sent one more line before midnight. User staff JM, normally a daytime counter account, used from Seaview 1930-1950. 2 commands: archive old, ingest new, comments format normalization, then cover page replacement. I tucked it behind the audit sleeve. The blue envelope grew heavier in the right way. That night, I put my palm on the drawer and told the wood, we are staying. The house made no promises. It stood with me anyway. County buildings have 2 faces, bright counters for forms that smile and basements where truth keeps its shoes on. Hale met us by the freight elevator with a key ring and a warning. Off the record. If my name appears with your sentences, I'll deny them. But you deserve to see. Under a single lamp, we walked the daybook again, this time like a surgeon. Improper impression, crooked seal, mirror letters in the ring. Out-of-sequence rubrics. JM before CR, then CR squeezed between seal and vault. Afterthought tick in a different pen. Hale turned pages to show how straight the neighbors stood. Ours did not. He handed us the night vault log, 6:22 p.m., one signature where policy says 2. On a staff notes binder, we recovered the post-it, contact AT before filing, and preserved it. Ethan wrote the words a judge likes: improper impression, out-of-sequence rubrics, single-sign night vault, copy contamination, extrinsic note, no adjectives, edges. We walked our motion to the clerk. The stamp at 2:07 p.m. sounded like a seatbelt. IT confirmed by email. System cover check some 7B2F. 9071. Archive event detected. Seaview terminal ping recorded. At 4:03, a process server found my doorbell again. Temporary conservatorship petition and off-site 72-hour comfort order, granted pending hearing. Ethan texted, already moving to stay on Hale grounds plus #swap. If anyone arrives, show stamps and call me. At 5:10, Hale's digital audit arrived with the swap we needed. 1942 archive. 1 Nerifer ingest 9071 staff de gem format normalization. Minutes later, Ethan received the Brianna Avery email by mistake, then recalled, use JM's badge at Seaview to push the normalized cover. We need reputation on page 1 and temporary management in bold. Make sure the checksum won't spook a T. After the toast, we file restricted. Paper finally showed its teeth. Ethan added a TRO to our filings, enjoin any temporary accommodation, removal, or transport of me without my consent and counsel present. Enjoin any pre-auction or ROFO activity, order preservation of logs, badge events, terminal images, compel the bank to lift care plan freezes until hearing, appoint an independent auditor, Ava as registrar of record for chain of custody. We filed at 6:11 p.m. The clerk stamped. At 7:33, a dark SUV idled at my curb. 2 support workers with clipboards smiled as if they could domesticate the night. It's a comfort transfer, one said. You'll be back in 72 hours. I held up the stamped TRO and the hearing slip. Ethan's voice came through my speaker like a metronome. Any movement tonight is a bad faith ex parte. You will be named. The clipboard looked at the stamps, then at my phone, then at her partner. Retreat. We'll note refusal, she said. You'll note no consent, I answered. The SUV left like a carpet rolling itself up. I made tea because kettle's like a job after the room survives a heavy lift. I updated the map, basement, out-of-sequence rubrics, afterthought tick, mirror seal, night vault, 622, one signature. Copy contamination. Notify Matthew on copy only. Post-it. AT Digital, Archive. 31 ingest, 9071, staff de gem, seaview.email, Brianna Avery. Normalized cover. Reputation page 1. Temporary management, bold. Checksum awareness, filed. Motion plus TRO plus preservation plus independent audit. Attempted move, hotel escort. Denied with filings. I pulled the yellow square from my notebook one more time. Contact AT before filing. If AT was Ava, someone had a habit of checking labels and covers with her name in their mouth before writing things into law. If AT was someone else, we still had a hallway to find. Either way, the post-it had become a witness. I slid it back, closed the book, and told the house our sentence again. We are staying. Nights before court have their own weather. Air thins around door frames. Floors remember each step. I set the blue envelope in the center of the table like a small lighthouse. Arthur's letter, Hale's logs, Ava's custody note, the hash card, the TRO, and the hearing slip. I brewed tea. Neutral house. Steady hands. First I called the bank. Verification? The rep asked. Helen Parker, I said, giving numbers like I was reading my own name. I'm calling to lift freezes placed under wealth management. A court motion is filed and stamped. Hearing set. I am the account holder. No POA may act against my interest until the judge speaks. I uploaded the stamp. The hold music tried to soften my spine. It didn't. The rep returned with a new tone. We'll pause the review holds until Wednesday, she said, except standard fraud controls. We'll note that any request from Brianna or Price and Avery must route to counsel Ethan Ward. Then I sent notices. To Seaside Senior Living, no admission. Any emergency placement is unauthorized. To Seaview Wealth Team, no transport. Any vehicle will be refused at the door. To the gallery director, stay all pre-auction activity pending court. Preserve chain. I am the owner. At 9:30, Matthew arrived with a pharmacy notarized POA revocation and the face of a man carrying a tool he barely trusts. She told me the emails were yours, he said. I believed her because believing her was easy and believing you was complicated, and I was tired. You were managed, I said. Tired is a room where other people like to move furniture. I'm moving it back, he said. We made a short list for morning. Recorded call to Price and Avery. Email to Bank Legal. 1-paragraph declaration. I was shown forgeries. I signed under pressure. I revoke. I support standstill. Ava texted a photo of the storage door labeled Hold. Court notice on file. A small blue dot at the corner. Her private code for I'm watching. Jonas messaged. He had called the Elder Justice Unit to leave a heads up about logs and requested CCTV hold for the Seaview Business Center, 1930-1950. Water? Not fire, I wrote. Seatbelts buckled, he answered. Ethan phoned with the list no one sees but every good day needs. Bring 3 identical binders tomorrow. Judge opposing us. Tabs. Record. Ledger photos. Daybook. Vault. Digital. Hash card. Audit logs. IT email. Custody. Ava note. Courier slip. Hold photo. Intent. Arthur's letter. Under seal. Affidavits. Your doctor note. Matthew's declaration. Jonas prelim. Relief. Our motions. Plain contents sheet. No adjectives. I'll bring page number stickers. Judges are human. They like finding things. Mrs. Ellis, my neighbor, rang with a sweater and eyes that know porches. If you want me to knit on yours till morning, I will, she said. I handed her a copy of the TRO and the hearing slip. If anyone knocks, say no consent and call me, she pointed at her porch light. I'll leave it on. We'll make a runway between our houses. I built the binders like a holiday table, measured, patient. Record, crooked seal, out-of-sequence rubrics, single sign vault, copy contamination, Matthew, post-it image, text transcribed. Original preserved. Digital hotel. INE31 system, 9071, audit swap, 1942-1944, IT confirmation. Custody, Ava's registrar note, courier chain slip, hold sign photo. Intent, cover sheet under seal. Arthur's letter, original retained. To be authenticated on inspection. Summary, Lydia Foundation, Curator for Life, House Home Base. Affidavits, my doctor letter, no cognitive impairment. Matthew's revocation, Jonas's notes, thumb drive. Capacity pretext, file name and hash observed. Relief, motion stamped and TRO, a final pressure text arrived. Last offer, private eval with Dr. Seaver, plus. 72-hour comfort stay. We withdraw pressing petitions. You keep dignity. Everyone sleeps. I typed but didn't send. Dignity didn't write your offer. Dignity is already here. I rehearsed 6 sentences in the hall mirror until they lived in my bones. Your Honor, we seek in-chambers review due to improper impression, out-of-sequence rubrics, single-sign night vault, and a digital swap. Suspend the addendum. Stay pre-auction, restore me as executrix. Appoint an independent auditor. Decedent's letter under seal shows intent. Lydia Foundation. Helen Curator for Life House Home Base. Email headers don't match my devices. Request exclusion and origin. Bank paused holds. I manage my bills. I remained quiet in public. We brought paper. Near 1 a.m., Hale called. I asked it to freeze Seaview Terminal images and badge events for that window. If anyone asks why before the judge, tell them I'm fussy about logs. Fussy saves houses, I said. I signed contents sheets with Arthur's pen and tucked it back into the blue envelope. Labeled the flap letter, under seal and do not photocopy, because overkill saves minutes. Mrs. Ellis's light stayed on. I set a sticky note on the envelope. Binders, ID. Phone loud, keys, blue envelope, breathe. Then I slept like a contract, short, binding and ready to be read. At dawn, Ethan, Judge Tenties, flat shoes. Bring quiet. Ava, a photo of the Whitaker letters box checked into the courthouse safe. Chain clean. See you in the hallway. Jonas, hold stays. He'll publish only if someone moves me or my property. Matthew, email to Price and Avery, POA revoked. Direct all contact to her counsel. He spelled everything right. I took it as a sign. I buckled the blue envelope into the passenger seat and told the house the sentence it knows. We are staying. The porch light clicked off like a baton passed to morning. Some papers are heavy before you read them. I took Arthur's letter out one more time and read it 3 ways. Once for nouns, foundation, house, curator. Once for verbs, want, keep, see. Once for shape, not liquidation. Stewardship. I wrote a plain under seal summary, decedent letter to Samuel Whitaker. Intent, Lydia Foundation. Helen curator for life. House home base. Remaining assets for summer light. Charitable. Context. Around Lab Day, noted in Whitaker correspondence. Custody. Cataloged by Ava. Courier delivery. Chain of custody signed. Hale called. Seaview Terminal images for 1930-1950 frozen. Badge swipes match the audit. Edits to the addendum bundle blocked by a digital hold. Footprints are friends, he said. I'll be in the hallway if the judge wants the plain version. Jonas arrived with a canvas pouch. Loop, blue light, pH pens, cotton gloves. I am not a lab, he said, but I can give the judge preliminary checks. He gloved up, tilted the page to the light. Laid paper, 1980s feel. He swept the blue light. No suspicious fluorescence in main strokes. He checked indentations. Pressure on page 2 matched page 1. He compared signature features, the hooked A, the small hesitation on R, the downward bite on K. Consistent with comparators, he said. I'll write observations. You'll still want a forensic examiner if they fight. Plain sentences only. Matthew came next with his notarized revocation and a 1-paragraph declaration Ethan asked for. Matthew Parker, declare. I was shown emails and texts that purported to be from my mother instructing cash withdrawals and concealment. I now believe those communications were forgeries. I signed documents under pressure and incomplete information. I have revoked any POA I executed. I support in-chambers review of the addendum and a standstill on all estate actions pending court review. I will appear and testify truthfully. He signed in front of me. His hand shook, then steadied. He stepped onto the porch and called Price and Avery on a recorded line. POA revoked. Direct all contact to Ethan. A door closed with care. We turned to the forged emails' texts. Jonas opened raw headers from the forwarded copies. See this? He pointed at the received chain that hopped out of order. Also, the message ID pattern doesn't match your provider, and the X-mailer string is wrong. He wrote 3 lines a judge likes. Header structure inconsistent with provider pattern, time zone, and client string. Mismatch, message ID and received chain suggest. Spoof fabrication, Ethan. Arrived with page number stickers and 2 fresh items. The CCTV hold confirmation from the hotel and a short motion to seal the Brianna. Avery email while invoking the crime fraud exception. He glanced at Arthur's pen and allowed a small smile. Bring it, he said. Judges are human. Mrs. Ellis knocked with 2 thermoses labeled tea and coffee. Your porch light and mine looked like a runway last night, she said. If you need a ride, my son can drive. You already did the big thing, I said. You watched, she nodded. Watching is a job, and left the door warmer than she found it. We drew a timeline a judge could read in one glance. Lab Day, letters, 1980s. Quiet request, addendum intake, year of death. Crooked mirror seal. out-of-sequence rubrics. Single sign vault, hotel preview, last week. Safeguards. Hash 7B2F. Dirty one. Capacity pretext spoken. Thumb drive passes county audit, same night. Archive. DUI 31 ingest 971. Staff gem. Seaview terminal.email, same night. Brianna Avery instructs normalized cover. Reputation page 1. Temporary management bold. Checksum awareness. Next day, TRO filed. Escort refused. Bank holds paused. POA revoked. CCTV hold set. Binders prepped. Ethan pointed at the photocopy where Notify Matthew appeared and the microfilm frame where it did not. 2 things, he said. Copy contamination and a habit we can testify to. Brianna's 1T, Matthew. We won't accuse. We'll let the shape do the work. I wrote a draft for the Lydia Foundation board. Just lines to remember the shape of Arthur's wish. House as home base. Small arts and library grants. Help for doc families. A Samuel Whitaker chair to honor reconciliation and summer light. Ava as first acting trustee to voice that chair. Jonas as ethics advisor. I placed it behind Arthur's letter where quiet things live. One last offer came by text. Private eval. Plus 72-hour comfort stay. We withdraw petitions. Avoid optics. I took a screenshot, filed it, and let silence do its job. We rehearsed in living room chairs. Ethan as himself, Jonas as clerk and opposing, Matthew as Matthew. We practiced page numbers and low voices, the 2 tools rooms respect. When the rehearsal ended, Dawn had the right color. We stacked the binders, slipped Arthur's pen into the blue envelope, and set out. Mrs. Ellis's porch light still made its small runway. I told the house the sentence it holds. We are staying. It stayed. Courtrooms have their own weather. Air like paper, light like honesty, shoes louder than voices. We checked in at security. Ethan carried the binders. Matthew held the door and did not let it close on anyone. Ava stood near a glass case with an archive slip. Hale waited with a slim folder labeled plain version. Jonas leaned against a column, notebook closed, phone face down. We did not hug. We nodded. Sometimes that's stronger. Parker Arthur addendum, the clerk called. A second caption shadowed the first, conservatorship. The judge entered, calm eyes, careful hair, a pen that clicked once, then rested. Ms. Avery of Price and Avery began with polished nouns. Protective matter, Your Honor. Ms. Parker's behavior shows instability, impulsivity, susceptibility to influence. My client, Brianna Parker, took reasonable steps. Limited POA, capacity screening, brief asset review. We ask for a temporary conservatorship and permission to complete a restricted inventory without delay. She lifted a stack. We also have emails, instructions to cache jewelry, hide assets, avoid receipts, signed H. The judge glanced at me. You'll have your turn. I kept the breath I had practiced. Ethan rose. Our paper is heavier. We move to 1. Deny the conservatorship. 2. Suspend the addendum pending review. 3. Stay the pre-auction. 4. Restore Ms. Parker as executrix under the original will. And 5. Appoint an independent auditor. We support with chain of custody logs, ledger anomalies, hash evidence, and a handwritten letter from the decedent clarifying intent. He handed the judge binder. Tabs stood like stepping stones. Witnesses, the judge said. Facts, not conclusions. Start with the record. Hale took the stand and swore the way men do when truth is their daily chore. Our intake daybook shows an improper impression, seal crooked. Mirror letters visible. Rubrics out of sequence. JM before CR, then CR squeezed between seal and vault. The night vault log shows 6:22 p.m. entry with 1 signature. Policy requires 2 after hours. Our IT audit reflects a document swap the night of the hotel preview, 1942, original cover with checksum 7B2F, 9031 archived, 1944, replacement cover with checksum 7B2F, 9071 ingested, both by staff jam at a Seaview remote terminal. Comments, format normalization, and cover page replacement. He stopped. Numbers did their job. Cross was careful. Seals get crooked, Ms. Avery said. People are human. Hale. Morning corrects crooked seals. This one wasn't corrected. Staff use remote terminals? They can. Logs must exist. These logs exist. They say what they say. Ava testified next. Registrar, parallel sheet, personal versus assorted, refusal to erase dedications, chain of custody for the Whitaker letters, delivery by courier, photo of the backboard dedication for Arthur, for all the summer light, SW. You dislike my client, Ms. Avery tried. I like sleep, Ava said. My job is records. The judge's mouth almost changed shape. Jonas followed, investigative editor, thumb drive at the hotel. Photo of safeguards in hashtail 7B2F, U31, timeline of crooked seal, out-of-sequence initials, single sign night vault, hotel hash, then county swap to 9071. Preliminary header analysis of the supposed emails. Time zone, client mismatch. Message ID received chain suggests spoof. 2 pages labeled preliminary notes, plain, went into the record. Ethan moved to lodge the letter under seal. Intent only, he said. Lydia Foundation. Helen Curator for Life. House as home base. Objection, hearsay, Ms. Avery said. The judge, received for intent under seal. I will review. Ethan called me last for 5 simple questions. Have you posted publicly? No. Can you manage bills and daily living? Yes. Do you consent to a temporary conservatorship? No. Do you request an independent audit? Yes. Do you ask to stay pre-auction? Yes. Ms. Avery tried to wave the emails again. Ethan raised a single page. Headers, he said. The judge nodded. Court IT will extract full headers. If inauthentic, they do not return to this room. Then Ethan did a careful thing. He took the stand as a fact witness for 1 minute. I warned Brianna about the reputation writer and the danger of public pressure, he said. She did not stop. I am submitting, under seal, an email forwarded to me by mistake, later recalled. It ties Brianna to instructions to push the normalized cover using JM's badge at Seaview, to place reputation language on page 1, and to bold temporary management. We ask the court to consider the crime-fraud exception. Objection. Privilege, Ms. Avery said. The judge. Under seal for in-camera review. The judge read in silence. 10 minutes long enough to move walls. When she spoke, her voice carried wait rooms obey order, petition for temporary conservatorship denied. No compulsory evaluation. No facility placement absent new facts and this court's permission. All pre-auction activity stayed. No sales, pre-bids, letters of intent, or movement of items pending further order. Addendum suspended pending in-chambers review of irregularities. Improper impression, out-of-sequence rubrics, single-sign night vault, digital swap. The original will controls in the interim. Helen Parker restored as executrix. Any POA used against her interest is revoked to the extent of conflict. Independent auditor appointed for neutral inventory and account review. The gallery will preserve chain of custody, with Ms. Torres as registrar of record for fine items, clerk to transmit, record to the district attorney's elder justice, unit for evaluation of possible document, fraud and financial abuse, court IT to extract and examine email headers. If inauthentic, excluded, she capped her pen. We are done with optics, she said. We are now in the business of truth. Matthew stood without being asked. He didn't look at Brianna. He looked at me. Your Honor, he said, voice scraped and honest. I revoked any POA. I was managed. I thought I was preventing harm. I became the harm. I'm sorry. The judge nodded. Cooperate with the auditor, she said. Begin today. In the hallway, Ava exhaled like a note she'd held too long. Hale handed Ethan the plain version folder. For when someone pretends they didn't hear, he said. Page numbers help. We stopped by the gallery. The director had already received the court's hold. In storage, the painting back still whispered SW. We thanked the room for holding. Back home, the bank called, care plan holds lifted. The hotel left a message that the courtesy SUV had been misrouted. Ethan filed the written order the moment the clerk posted it. Jonas sent his editor a note. Hold continues. No publish while court protects. Second line I liked. Sometimes quiet wins. We set one more table that afternoon. Not with plates, but with paper. At the top, a clean sheet, Lydia Foundation. Initial board resolution, draft. We keep the house as home base. We direct light where it does its best work. Small arts, library grants, help for doc families. Helen Parker serves as curator for life. The board includes the Samuel Whitaker Chair, Honorary Perpetual, to honor reconciliation and summer light. The first acting trustee to voice that chair is Ava Torres, registrar and witness to truth. Jonas Price serves as independent ethics advisor. Matthew Parker serves as community liaison, learning the work, not holding the whole. I signed Helen Parker with Arthur's pen and set it down like a promise that had made it home. Mrs. Ellis arrived with a pie. "I saw you walk in with binders and come out with breath," she said. That looked like good news. "It is," I said. Paper learned to bite. That evening I walked the promenade. The bay wore silver where the sun failed in a kind way. On the bench for the man who loved Tuesday walks, I opened the blue envelope and slid 3 things together: the court order, Arthur's letter, the board draft. Proof next to promise next to plan. My phone buzzed. A new number. We will be in touch through counsel. I typed 2 words a court could read without squinting. Understood. Counsel. At home, I hung my pearl necklace on its hook. Not assorted, named. The hall mirror showed my height and my age and refused to tell me I was less. The porch light clicked on, punctual as ever. Not to warn, to welcome.